Okay guys, we'll be going through how to create objects in AutoCAD. This is 3D objects. Now in this case we want to create a foundation stilts, or rather our posts, our floor joists, and our tongue and groove floorboards in AutoCAD. And the aim is we create it in AutoCAD and carry it into 3ds Max to create the rest of the elements. So the first thing we need to do is fire up AutoCAD. We are going to, before we click new, we need to know what units we're going to be in. So my recommendation is on that splash screen that you normally get, you go to file, the little A rather, and you go to new, and you get this dialog box that pops up, and we want to start from a template. So we want to use the AEC model, and in my case I want to be using metric, and we're going to be using CTB. It doesn't really matter whether it's CTB or STBs, but we're going to be using CTB, and we're going to click OK. Alright, so this is the kind of interface that we're accustomed to in AutoCAD, where we have a plan view of whatever we are creating. So for example, if we create, line work, it's all going to be in a plan view. However, AutoCAD also has the ability to create 3D model objects. So if I, for example, use my view cube, which is located in the top right here, and I click, hold, and drag the view cube, notice that this indeed is a 3D application, and you can see where I have drawn my shape here. So right away, if we wanted to create an object, for example a vertical post that measures perhaps 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters, we would first need to create the profile first and then extrude. So let's jump right into that and try that out. Now, switching between views, you can use the view cube to orbit. My suggestion, however, is that you use the shift and middle mouse button to orbit. And for switching between your views, such as top view, right view, and so forth, you're going to use this little dialog, this little viewport label here, where you click it and you switch to top. Okay, so let us get started. So let's close that, and what we want to do is we want to draw a shape. In this case we're going to draw a member, a construction member, which is going to be a 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter post. So to do that, we're going to use our polyline tool, and we're going to click, and let's turn on ortho. And I'm going to be going a bit fast because some of these features we should already know from 2D drafting, right? So we want to make that 100 millimeter, so 100 by 100. Zoom in there. All right. Now I can verify that I am indeed in millimeters by typing units and pressing enter, and there we go, I am in millimeters. So I am creating the right object at the right scale. Now I want to just grab this here and move this close to the center. Let me turn off ortho. It's always a good practice to work close to your center or your origin. Alright, great. So now I'm going to hold shift and middle mouse button to orbit, And what I want to do now is extrude this shape. Now to do that, I would need to go to my solids tab. Now some of us might not have solids tab by default. If you don't have your solids tab, then what you need to do is to right click and under show tabs ensure that you have solids that is checked. Now if you have solids checked, then you should have the solids tab here, and then you should have this extrude button. So if I click extrude now and I click the object I want to extrude, press enter, this is going to be the height of my post. So I'm going to make this post about 4 meters high, so that's about 4,000 millimeters. I press enter. That's my post there. That's a pretty tall post. I can always adjust what I have extruded by clicking this icon here. So I could maybe carry it down about halfway. Let's see, about that. Alright, great. Now if I wanted to create a horizontal member, the quickest way to do that is I could just copy this, copy, and I copy it there. Let's turn on ortho again so that we have it in order. And now I want to rotate it. Now rotating in AutoCAD in 3D might feel a bit tricky at first, so normally we'd be inclined to select the object, type the rotate command, which is RO, press enter, and let's see, ideally I would want to have rotated my object this way about 90 degrees. That's what I want to achieve at least. So when I click the corner that I want to rotate, notice that it is actually rotating that way, which is around about the z-axis. Let me undo that, which is not what I want. I want it to rotate this way. Now the quick trick that you can use to quickly do this, and a key important factor that you should note with AutoCAD, AutoCAD will tend to only operate in the X and Y axis. Notice that this says X and Y. So in this case, my X axis, my Y axis is going that way, and my X axis is going that way. My Z axis is going up that way. So if I needed to rotate, I actually would want to rotate in the Z and the X like that. Now this is a no-no for AutoCAD, because AutoCAD will only always rotate in the X and Y. So what we really need to do to resolve this is we need to make this be our Y axis and this be our X axis. Now currently notice what the UCS has. The UCS has this as the Z, which is what we want to change to the Y. Now the proper way to actually get that done is to actually change your UCS by clicking this little drop down box here and choose new UCS and try and reorient your UCS to having Y vertical and X horizontal. However, there is a quick and dirty way that you can quickly do this, and to do that, what you need to do is, in my case, I would need to switch to a front view, I believe. There we go. And in a front view, notice my axis. Now AutoCAD has, notice my axis here. AutoCAD now has this as my Y and has this as my X, and that is because I've changed my view up here. So AutoCAD has now reorient my UCS based on the fact that I have selected the front view. So now it is very easy for me to rotate this. So let me go to my rotate tool, type RO, select this here, and that's it. Now I'm able to rotate in the right axis. So let me hold shift and go back to my 3D view. I now have my object rotated like that. So ideally I would want to move this object and attach it there. So I use my move tool, or move command rather. Click it there and I can snap it there, or rather I can snap this there. Now the other thing I want to do now is, let's say I now wanted to have another one go that way. So I could copy this again, CO copy. So let me copy that. And ideally all I need to do now is to rotate this object. So what I really want is for me to rotate this object that way, 90 degrees. So I know the rule of AutoCAD. AutoCAD says that, okay, well, if you want to do that, then this has to be your X and this has to be your Y. However, notice that because AutoCAD had changed it based on my view, this is my X, but this is my Z, and we know that this is a no-no. So again, a quick and dirty trick that you can use is to change your view to the top view, and that will allow me to easily rotate now, as AutoCAD now has my Y going this way and my X going that way. And again, this has changed because I have changed my view using these view settings here, not your view cube settings. That's important. This will not work if you use your view cube to change your view. Alright, okay, so what I need to do is to click that and go to my rotate command, RO, and well, I need to move this here, but it's best that I do it in 3D. So I'm holding shift and middle mouse button, and I'm going to go to my move command and move that there. So right away you see where you have objects in 3D in AutoCAD. Now the other command or feature that you will probably need to use is the subtract feature. Though we are creating 3D models, and if I go to my view and switch it from wireframe to conceptual, in reality this joint may not necessarily be joined this way, right? In reality, what you may have for a condition like this one is you may have a member going that way, and that will quite possibly sit in a pocket that is cut out from this shape here. So when creating scenarios like this, we need to subtract this element here. So let's do that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually delete this object here, and we're going to create that member that would sit in a pocket here. So I'm going to go to a top view, and I'm going to draw a member using my polyline tool. That is, I'm going to draw the profile that is 50 by 100, and I'm using the polyline tool here. I hold shift middle mouse button to orbit, and I'm going to extrude this element here. I go over to my solids tab, and then I click extrude. Of course you could type the command extrude as well, and let's make this the same 2000 millimeters. There we go. Again, we need to rotate this object now, and we want to rotate it this way. So we now know that we need to change our view to view it this way so that we can easily rotate it. So we go to view and we change that to, I think it's front in this case. Let's try that, front view. There we go. Now we're able to select this object, type RO, and rotate it that way. Alright, let's hold shift middle mouse button to orbit. Then now we want to move this object, and we're going to snap it. Actually, we're going to snap it inside, so we're going to move it and snap it there, and we can see now where we have it sitting. However, this object is not really cut out. I mean, if I delete this object here, you can see that this is a full shape. Let me undo that. So what we want to do is cut our element out of this element here, and to do that we're going to use the subtract tool. Now to use the subtraction tool, which is located here, first we're going to select the object that we want to subtract from. So in this case it's the post. We select our subtract tool, and then we want to select the object that we want to subtract from it. So in this case it's this object, so we click that and press enter. Okay, let's do that again. This time around, let's select the subtract tool first, and let's see what AutoCAD says. It says select the object, subtract, select object. So we're going to select that, press enter, then select the solids to subtract. It will be that, then press enter. So notice now you're left with the appropriate space. Unfortunately, it has deleted the object that we have used to subtract. So again, a quick way, let me just undo that you can do this, to do this shortly, is to make a copy of this object. So just for show, I'm going to just make a copy of this object. I'm going to put it up top, and then I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to click the subtract tool, select the object that I want to subtract from, press enter, then select the objects that I want to subtract, press enter. Alright, great. So we had saved a copy of this, so I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm going to move that and sit it down right in this pocket here. So depending on the design that you might use for your structural foundation, you might want to create these pockets here. You may have one that is cut out here. It uses the same subtract command. With that said, try to design a proper foundation still layout, including foundations and floorboards and floor joists, using this simple technique of extrude and subtract. Okay, thanks for watching.